Hey, what's up, guys? It's Anati, the electronic bushman, sexy chubby, and you guys are tuned in to JoburgToday.tv. Don't touch that dial.
A big question is, what is happening to the human factor in the business ecosystem? That's a question I put to Albert Lowe, a businessman himself. I'm Peter Ndoro, and this is For the Record. I'm fascinated by your perspective about the human factor when it comes to business. That's so unlike business because they're corporate entities. They've got a certificate at the office that registers these companies. And we forget sometimes that actually, businesses are made up of people. And I guess this is part of what was your discovery.
Over business, and I'm a small part of the business world in South Africa, and I try and have an impact where we go. But I found over all these years, whether it's a technology business, obviously technology is embraced, it can make lives easier. But then I found that the difference in all of these companies, the ones that are successful, the ones that are consistent at what they do, the ones that have a fantastic reputation in the market, the ones that deliver good products, it was every single time the human factor, the humans in between those businesses that always made it work. And for me, it's very interesting because if you look at South Africa and the landscape, we have a labor problem. And we have humans in this country that we can do so much with. And I think that the mindset needs to be that if we create hope with the human factor, if we create hope, all of a sudden we look at things differently. So if we can embrace, and I think we need to put a little bit more attention because all we hear nowadays is technology is going to replace humans. Things are more, get sped up with technology and automation. But something interesting, it's not so far removed from South Africa, but Tesla, when they started automation, that's what they were going to do, just automate. The moment they brought humans back into the factory, the factory ran more effectively, more efficiently. And locally, we have exactly those examples. And I think that because we have compassion as humans, because we can see love, we have an emotional intelligence when it comes to logic and how we apply things, I think that factor can't be stated enough. And I think it's undervalued at the moment in South Africa and the world.
So how do we do it business to business, business to customer? How do we latch on to this human factor so that it spreads?
Well, I think we need to reinvest in ourselves. I think that right now, we have more than ever, we need to get around the table and talk to each other. Not all of us arrive at work at the same way, in the same mental state. You might have been on 3 taxis that was causing 3 accidents, so you get at work and already the day has been full of action. And you just came from work, put your car on and drove quite silently towards the office. So I think we need to have perspective of one another. We need to look at each other. You can't always dive into personal things too much, but we need to look at each other as humans, understand each other, and then say to us that if we have a common goal towards what we need to achieve, your life automatically becomes better, so it allows you to do more things in your own life to develop yourself. But the business also grows, which means we can grow the economic footprint. If we do that and we keep towards our product and we all understand that ultimately, regardless of our challenges and differences here we need to find commonality. And that humans do just so brilliantly. Look how we pull things together in the World Cup. It's the human factor. It's everything that we've ever done so successfully. It all came down to all of us getting some sort of hope in us. And then we just took on the world. And before you know it, we've done it brilliantly.
Why do you think that we don't all get it and that we have those moments like the World Cup and then we lull back? I mean, I remember the first time we won the World Cup and South Africa had just become new. So there was a lot of hope. We talked about this rainbow nation and then we lost our way. So there must be something that we either lose, forget, or are not learning. Otherwise, we would have been so much further by now.
Humbleness. And I think we get sucked into the world. The world of social media where I see a beautiful Mercedes with my friend. He's getting a brand new house. Where we get sucked into those things that actually matter nothing to us. for me, it's again coming back to perspective. In the morning, we wake up with a heart of gratefulness for what we have, the fact that we can breathe, that we can walk, that we can even take on what we take on because we have the ability to do it. That gratefulness changes your whole day. And I think that we need to keep perspective to say that what's important is really all of us around us. Because when we're sick, that's human factor that's next to us. When we really need in life, when it doesn't matter what money you have, where you come from, when it all comes together, you want a human touch, a human love. That's what we ultimately need and want the whole time. And I think we need to keep perspective that what I'm doing today in my business is not to buy 7 Ferraris, 2 Rolexes, and have 7 houses across the country. I'm building this so that I can grow another 100 people into this economy, grow their salaries, grow their lives so that they can educate their kids, provide good food for them at home, not have that stress by the 10th or the 5th of the month of not being able to provide, so that I'm effective in my duty. And I think if we make that the important part and not all the other materialistic things, it's amazing what will eventually happen to us as a nation.
This sounds all very nice and philanthropic and feel good. But there's people out there watching this and they're thinking, you know what, in real business, you can't bring that into the boardroom. Or can you?
I think it's absolutely, I think if I had the time with you this morning, we will show you studies that if you focus on that, your profitability automatically goes up. You know, I always say that we can't just always be emotional because I'm a businessman. I understand profit needs to happen. I understand GPs and margins need to be banked. I understand that there's daily things in a business. But I can tell you right now that if you're a customer service business, if you're a hotel as an example, so I walk into the Southern Sun this morning, I'm spending 2,000 Rand for the night. Who's giving me that experience? Is it the receptionist? The guy that takes me up to my room, the waiter at night that really with love presents the menu to me? There's no board or shareholders. I didn't interact with any one of them. Those are the people that make the experience that allows me to come back and say, I want to stay there again. Not because of a guy that I know in the shareholder in the boardroom that I want to impress and take a photo of. So that's why you have to invest in the human factor, because they are the face, the profit, the activity, the operations, all of that of your business. You invest in that, it changes our business. Our clients will automatically, you'll see more clients booking, more people eating dinner. Instead of 2 drinks, it will be 4 drinks. And before you know it, you've got a better business. So I completely agree or disagree depending on who you are and who's asking it, that the human can make all the world. And that is an investment from a commercial standpoint, not an emotional one.
Do you think this philosophy would change this age-old battle between employer and employee, labor unions and companies? We know that once a year there's going to be strikes because of wages and working conditions, and you've got a CEO who has to answer to shareholders and this constant battle between these two. Is it the human factor that's missing?
Well, it's the human factor that's the cause. And normally we see it's one individual or a group of individuals that have a certain agenda, and that agenda, they get other people to represent them in that agenda. So it also comes down to the management and the staff and what relationship they have. And the business, ultimately the principles, the guiding principles of the business. But when it comes to those type of factors, it's individual agendas. And then what we see is the same with the media. We get a message this morning from the media, and automatically we assume that's a general feeling. But the fact of the matter is, it could be an individual agenda or an individual person sitting this morning. That's how I see life. So therefore, I'm going to present that to the rest of my readers that way. I personally think that we need to start saying that we hear one bad thing, but there's 9 great things that happen to us between people, between the humans. And I think that we just need to have that mutual respect. We're not always going to agree on everything, so we're not always going to have the same views on life. But there's some commonalities that if we hold on to that, I think South Africa and Africa has a footprint and a place to play in this world that I think we haven't even touched on.
Albert Louw, I wish we could talk for much longer, and I hope that we can get to have a conversation again soon. Very profound insights, and yeah, let's hope that businesses and people generally understand how important the human factor is. Thanks so much indeed.
Thank you very much. We appreciate your time. Thank you very much. Thanks for the opportunity.